They continue to be provocative. They continue to be reckless. And at that point, there's not a whole lot the Security Council is going to be able to do from here when you've cut 90% of the trade and 30% of the oil.
For those who have said and have been commenting about the lack of a military option, there is a military option. Now, it's not what we would prefer to do. So what we have to do is call on all nations, call on everyone to do everything we can to address this global problem short of war.
North Korea's latest missile firing coming days after the UN Security Council unanimously imposed the toughest economic sanctions yet against Pyongyang. Markets shaking off this second North Korean missile fired over Japan. This is North Korea's 15th test so far this year. Let's take a check of defense stocks. Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Raytheon all closing in the green. My next guest says this is the answer to Pyongyang. Quote, the moral answer to North Korea? Take them out. With me now, Fox News contributor Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, author of the terrific must-read new book, Judgment at Appomattox. Good to see you, Colonel. You say take them out now?
Oh, not immediately. My position is very straightforward. There is one last hope. If we were willing to come down brutally hard on China economically, really make it hurt, you might get the Chinese to crack down on Kim. But Kim himself, he's not afraid of us. Why? Because we've threatened and we huffed and puffed and we didn't blow the house down. He knows China's got his back. China views him as an ally, if an irksome one. And then you've got Putin in the mix. This would have been easier to solve 5 years ago. Now Putin's making mischief. Russians are making hundreds of millions of dollars smuggling oil and other goods into North Korea from Vladivostok. The Chinese are making money smuggling. They don't honor the sanctions. So again, the bottom line here is one last shot, one last chance. And again, I know people don't want a trade war. I'd rather have a trade war than a nuclear war. But if China won't help us in the end, and frankly it's unlikely, then my position's straightforward. I'm not going to stand still for dead Americans. Better dead North Koreans than dead Americans. And this is deadly serious because Kim Jong-un is not predictable. He's not necessarily a rational actor. He threatens us directly. He is well on the way to having the means to kill millions of Americans, and it is not acceptable.
Colonel, Kim Jong-un has shot off more missiles than his father and his grandfather combined. A two-part question. Why didn't we shoot these two missiles down? And what is the chance that this missile could have gone awry, and what would have been the reaction if it, accidentally did hit Japan?
Well, if it had hit Japan, that's an act of war. If hostile fire hits your country, it's an act of war. Now, why don't we shoot them down? There's actually a number of good reasons why. The first one is because the one stage that the North Koreans haven't figured out yet is the reentry phase. When let's call it the nose cone or the reentry vehicle, when that's coming down from space toward the target, the heat and the stresses are incredible. And they break up. So we're monitoring them. We're monitoring what's called telemetry, the technical aspects of the flight. And that tells us a great deal about how far along they are. So the intelligence we get is better than just shooting it down. The other reason is kind of psychological. If we tried to shoot it down and missed, and our anti-missile defenses are much, much better than they were. They're coming along. They're not perfect. If we missed, it encourages Kim Jong-un.
Okay, Colonel, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Liz.
Thanks again.